Yo, what is up? What's going on? What's good, everybody? This is the Boxing Source Midweek Report, August 17th, 2022. Just trying to get a few things going, get a few things situated. Been sharing the link and whatnot. Uh Reading a couple of comments reference to a previous video that was posted on the Boxing Source YouTube channel. It's in reference to the preview of Alexander Usyk versus Anthony Joshua for the unified heavyweight titles. I did post that earlier today. So if you haven't done so already, you can check that out. Pretty in-depth preview about what each fighter pretty much would have to do in order to get the victory on Saturday, August 20th, 2022, over in Saudi Arabia. But here in the midweek report, for those that are in here live on the YouTubes, you know what it is, you know what it's about. All right. You know what we got, you know what it is. I've said it many times over. Okay. I tried to told y'all, as they say. Not I tried to tell y'all, but I tried to told y'all that if the Bronze Bomber returns, right, he will be going up against Robert Helenius. Said that many times over. And all I did was I pretty much said, like, hey, what would it take to get Deontay Wilder back in the ring? And whatever it took, he got him back in the ring. So Saturday, October 15th, at the Barclays Center, it will be the former WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder against Robert Helenius. What the heck is going on here? I guess it's been a long, long day. Pretty much been up on the move since 6 a.m. Of course, like I said, did the earlier video posted that had other things I had to handle up to this point. So right now, like I said, I'm talking about this thing here with Deontay Wilder and Robert Helenius. Man, see, if the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club was on here, he would have probably said something about me like wiping my eyes or something like that. Talking about, see, you're wiping away the tears because you know that you're thankful for Deontay Wilder returning to the ring. Oh, no. I don't know what it is, man. Okay, hold on. All right, hold on. All right, I gotta situate myself here. Okay, all right. Let's get into it. All right, check it. Like I said, Deontay Wilder, former WBC heavyweight champion of the world, of course, had his two losses to Tyson Luke Fury. And he'll be going up against the WBA Gold Heavyweight Champion. Did he still regard Robert Helenius as a WBA Gold Heavyweight Champion? I don't know. But he does have a high ranking in the World Boxing Association. Okay. So with this, it's basically something where we got to see where Deontay Wilder is at this particular point of his career. Of course, he's had, like I said, 2 stoppage losses. Robert Helenius is coming off of his 2 wins over Adam Kalnacki, 2 stoppage wins over Adam Kalnacki. And like I said, he had the WBA Gold Heavyweight Championship. He does have a high standing in the WBA rankings. We do know about what happened with the WBA Regular Championship. Daniel Dubois defeated Trevor Bryan. for that. We do know about the Super Championship. Alexander Usyk is taking on Anthony Joshua for the Unified Heavyweight Championship. So this particular bout here does have some real ramifications in the heavyweight division. Deontay Wilder is the number one ranked contender in the WBC. Peace and pugilism to my man, Myron Magnus. Peace and pugilism. It's been a good little minute, my man. Peace and pugilism. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, for some, for some reason, for people, they kind of like say, hey, I mean, you have Deontay Wilder that has lost 2 consecutive times, but is still ranked number 1 in the WBC rankings. People have questioned that. Some people are not surprised about it. But it is what it is in reference to that. But a few weeks back, on this channel, the Boxing Source YouTube channel, he do have an interview with the WBC president, Mauricio Suleiman. And I did state that there would have been a possibility at that time that Tyson Fury would retire. And if he did, then the WBC championship could be up for grabs, could be vacant. And that it could have been potential that Deontay Wilder could be fighting for that title. Now, here we are, August 17th. Tyson Fury has retired. Tyson Fury has relinquished the Ring Magazine Heavyweight Championship. And yes, it has been reported multiple times that the fight on Saturday between Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua will have that Ring Magazine title on the line. Now we got to find out if the WBC title will be vacant. And the WBC has made a ruling that Tyson Fury got to make a decision by, August 26th. If he's for reals, going to, retire. It's like saying, people are saying, where the papers at? Where the retirement papers at? Where are those? But, like I said, back to this thing here. Deontay Wilder, Robert Helenius, yes, they were at one point sparring partners as Deontay Wilder was preparing for that bout against Tyson Fury. Okay. And, it was something to where, you had someone named Helenius. Helenius is a tall guy, big guy, over, 6'5" or 6'6", with a reach of, 79 with the arms, 79. You know what I mean? Deontay Wilder is there at 6'7" with the 83-inch reach. So he, still would have an advantage, so to speak, there. But we would have to see, how Deontay Wilder comes out in this particular bout. To me, I've said this, for a while in reference to Deontay Wilder. He loves to fight guys that are much smaller than him. He does have a tendency to use his arm reach, to use his length, to use his, wide stance to create spacing between him and his opponent when his opponent is around 6'4" or lower. But when it's, somebody that's around 6'5", 6'6", sometimes he does have a little bit of issues here and there. And, we kind of like seen it, of course, be very evident in his fights against Tyson Fury. You even seen it, in the first one against Tyson Fury. But Tyson Fury is, of course, taller than Deontay Wilder. So that's like a whole different story. You had somebody like, Gerald Washington, that, had a good jab there at, 6'6", that was, giving Deontay Wilder a little bit of issues in the first couple of rounds. You also had something in there with, Johann Duhaupas, where, he did have like a really, really big lead against Duhaupas, but did have issues trying to eventually finish off Duhaupas in that particular fight. And like I said, those fights against Tyson Fury, he really had to adjust as far as like being the shorter fighter in that case. But in the third fight, you kind of like seen some type of adjustment by Wilder, and trying to mix things up, throw jabs up and down, throw jabs up and down, or 1-2, not 1-2 up top, but 1-2 down below. You know, and for some people, it felt like if he could have stayed on that particular course, then maybe he would have had a little bit more success in the third fight. But Fury eventually broke him down and mauled him in that instance. So now it's going to be a whole calendar year for Deontay Wilder to return to the ring, and he, like I said, they'll be facing Robert Helenius there. Robert Helenius comes in there with a record of 31 wins, 3 losses. Uh, and of course, Deontay Wilder only has those 2 losses to Tyson Fury. Robert Helenius has 21 wins by way of knockout. Deontay Wilder has all but 41 of the 42 wins by way of knockout or stoppage. Yes, he does have that one draw to Tyson Fury. That was back in December 1st, 2018. But I mean, we all know about his run as the WBC heavyweight champion. And now it's just something where maybe he could try to get himself back in the gear. I know that in one of my previous conversations that he he had the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club, and he was just having his little, I guess, advertisement of Deontay Wilder and the return of Deontay Wilder. Talk about, this is what the boxing game needs. It needed a spark in the sport of boxing. Talk about how boxing wasn't, doing much of nothing, doing much of nothing, with Deontay Wilder out of the game. But I mean, hey, that's what the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club, pretty much is saying about it. But I guess we'll see come October 15th what that's all about. You got, of course, it's going to be on pay-per-view. That's right, it will be on pay-per-view as it will be a Fox Sports pay-per-view telecast. And they also announced as a co-feature bout, former IBF super middleweight champion Caleb Plant going up against Anthony the Dog Durrell. So that particular fight is another fight that I pretty much said, hey, I mean, why not have that fight? Pretty much was talking about that fight, potential fight, since early this year. Caleb Plant, of course, it had his bout against Saul Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed super middleweight championships. He ended up getting stopped. Yes, he did end up getting stopped. But he did make a very, very good account of himself over the course of those rounds. But people are talking about, when he was in the ring saying, I respect your skills. It's like, can't be having that in the ring against Canelo Alvarez. You got to send a message to Canelo Alvarez to have him respect you. You can't, do something like you're in awe of Canelo Alvarez or something like that. Can't do that. But now he's going up against Anthony Durrell. Anthony Durrell with a record of 34 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws. Last year, he had, a draw against Kyron Davis. And then he had the TKO win over Marcos Hernandez. where he pretty much celebrated with a backflip, in the ring. I know people know about Teofimo Lopez doing backflips, but I was more, surprised about Darrell doing the backflip in the ring. Given that he is north of 35 years old. He's 37 years old. So someone that's 37 years old doing the backflip, man, I'm like, yo, what have I been doing? You know what I'm saying? But he gets back in it against Caleb Plant, former super middleweight champion. This is a great fight for Anthony Darrell to get himself back in the mix. And there have been times over that previous year where Anthony Darrell didn't feel like he had like a interest in fighting multiple guys in the 168-pound division unless if it meant for him to fight for a world title. Yes, he did have his latest loss to David Benavidez, where he was kind of like not in the same league as David Benavidez that night. Like there really wasn't much that he could do against David Benavidez at that night. There when he was fighting for the WBC 168-pound title, but now going up against Caleb Plant, skill versus skill. We're really going to see if Caleb Plant is still sharp with everything that he's doing, or if Anthony Darrell is back staying sharp and having a performance like he had against Marcos Hernandez. I think that was part of that card for Canelo versus Plant. He was on that undercard, and that's where he got that fourth round TKO victory. I think it was with the uppercuts, bam, and it just hit Marcos Hernandez, and that was it. But with those two, they're fighting. That's going to make it for a very attractive co-feature bout, and for a good number of people, that pretty much could cover it as far as like what people wanted to see as far as like a pay-per-view or whatnot. You know what I mean? And my thing is like, hey, you're going to have two former, pretty much like two former world champions, or three former world champions that will be involved in this card at the Barclays Center. Of course, like I said, Darrell was a former world champ, Caleb Plant's a former world champ, Deontay Wilder's a former world champ. So I mean that kind of like makes for a very, very good card there at the Barclays Center coming up on October 15th. And I'm having real plans of going to that. Some people kind of like know about my schedule and some things that I do for boxing and some things I do for like other events. So this time it doesn't really clash, so I can make both of those things when it comes to the month of October. So that's pretty much a good thing there for me in that part. But like this overall event also is going to see something about Deontay Wilder. And we're going to see like how much in demand Deontay Wilder is. Once they have those tickets on sale, come on, y'all. You gotta see a sellout, man. I've been to them fights, man. I've been to Wilder fights over the Barclays, man. I've been there for the Ortiz fight. I've been there for the Spilker fight, So, I mean, especially, for me, it ain't really that much to, get on up the road, over to Brooklyn. I'm, done it many times. I did it to cover, Danny Garcia versus, Jose Benavidez Jr., a few weeks ago. So, for me, I mean, come on, you got heavyweights in the ring, main event, Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius there. And like I said, could potentially be for the vacant WBC heavyweight title if Tyson Fury is for real about retiring, but many people know that is contingent on what happens on Saturday, right? So we'll see what happens on Saturday, and after that, we're gonna find out if Tyson Fury is retired, because some people feel like if a certain person wins on Saturday, he ain't gonna retire for real, for real. So I mean, that's that. I think that it should have been um, an occasion of where the WBC should have made Tyson Fury really make that decision as far as like, hey, you're gonna keep this title, you're gonna keep this status as the WBC heavyweight champion or not? But not quite. Okay. Um, we'll probably get updates through Mauricio Suleiman and the World Boxing Council on that. But it just remains to be seen how that goes. We really wanted to find out like what the people think about Deontay Wilder returning to the ring. Yes, he's a polarizing figure in the boxing media. Well, not the boxing media, but like in social media airwaves, as far as like is he a great fighter, is he overrated, is he underrated, or as one person said out here, is he the greatest American heavyweight of all time? The greatest I'm sorry, y'all. He said the greatest American heavyweight of all time. All right, y'all. Hey, I'm sorry again, but greatest American heavyweight of all time, y'all. That's what the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club said about Deontay Wilder. But yeah, that's mostly the things as far as like what's going down as far as like that announcement. Like I said, I mean the dots were right there for this fight to happen. It was something for where Deontay Wilder could have a big opponent that he is somewhat familiar with and has a good enough status in the heavyweight division so that if he scores a win, he's still right there back in the mix in the heavyweight rankings. Like I said, you got Tyson Fury, active or not, pretty much around the top. Alexander Usyk, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and pretty much you could name who could be number 5. It could be Joe Joyce or who knows for number 5. But at least there's kind of like a consensus as who the 4 fighters are that are at the top 4 in the heavyweight division. And so we pretty much get to see, like I said, top 2 of the top guys there this Saturday, and then one will get right back in the ring here on October 15th at the Barclays Center. Like I said, Fox pay-per-view. When they're in, there'll be a number of people that are looking forward to it. But like I said, we're gonna see how that turns out once the date comes through. So there is that. Like I said, you have that. You have the situation there with Anthony Durrell, Caleb Plant there in the super middleweight division. Like I said, that's going to be a very good fight. As the days kind of like pass, closer to like September, mid-September or late September, we'll probably get an idea of who else will be included in this pay-per-view card. Actually, we might have something similar to what is coming up on Sunday, September 4th, with that Fox pay-per-view telecast of Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Luis Ortiz, where you're going to have actually events that are going to be shown on Fox Sports 1 and on Fox leading to the pay-per-view telecast there for Sunday, September 4th. So we might see the same thing on October 15th. You can have something on Fox Sports 1, you can have something on Fox, and then you can have something, a couple of events, I'd say about 4 fights that'll be part of the pay-per-view telecast. And actually, you know what? Since it is in the Barclays Center, and if they do have something where it's like Fox Sports 1 and Fox, I want to see 2 guys in 2 separate fights in the Barclays Center that are in the Washington, D.C. area, or as they call the DMV. Okay. One of those guys is one person. Well, to both guys I've interviewed, both guys I've had on the Boxing Source radio show or as on interviews on multiple occasions. So one of them is a very young man, a young, talented fighter. Y'all know him. Mayweather Promotions signee, Jaleel Major Hackett. I want to see if he's going to be part of that card in October. Although we might see him in the ring sooner than that. I have to catch up, with his father and trainer there, and see with Coach Bernard Hackett if he's going to be in the ring kind of like sooner than in October. But at least there's one person that I would like to see in the ring at that particular fight date in Barclays Center. That's number one. Number two, if we haven't seen him in the ring in a while, and that is the Soldier, Cobia Soldier Breedy. I need to see Cobia Soldier Breedy back in the ring, see if he's there still at 126. He's a very, very good competitor. Of course, he's had his lone decision loss there, in the bubble, so to speak, there over in Uniondale, New York, or something like that. And he's had a couple of fights since then, but we need to get him back in the mix in the featherweight division. And I say that he should be there on TV. He is a great fighter to have on TV. So why not have him on TV? Or, you know what? Either you could have him be positioned for a rematch. He should be in a rematch. Either it would be against Suleiman Sagawa, which, of course, that fight that they had in Washington, D.C. was a no contest. So they, pretty much seen if they could have a rematch of that particular fight, either, here in the Washington, D.C. area or elsewhere. So it could be either Suleiman Sagawa or against King Tug Tuksat Nyambayar. Why not have a rematch against one of those guys? Especially if it's Tuksat Nyambayar. Like I said, that fight was a very, very competitive fight, very exciting fight. Then, went to full 12 and, he felt like just short of either, getting the win or getting a split decision draw in that fight against Tuksat Nyambayar. So I feel like, like I said, Jaleel Major Hackett and Cobia Breedy could be part of those fight cards, or at least those slots there for October 15th at the Barclays Center, headlined by Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius. I say, why not? With that being said, that kind of like is, what I was covering there for Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius. I don't know if there was like anybody in there that, had any thoughts about Deontay Wilder coming back. Like I said, I mean, some people in social media say they're excited about him coming back, but for me, I mean, we're going to see for reals. My thing has always been that, regardless of, how exciting or how polarizing Deontay Wilder is, I need to see it from financial perspective. Like, people spend the money, and let's see it. Let's see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's see folks buy the tickets. Let's see folks buy the pay-per-views. If he's the most exciting heavyweight out there. According to a lot of people. Like I said, 42 wins. 42 wins of those, or 41 knockouts in the 42 wins. 41 knockouts and 42 wins. Of course, and lone decision win was against Bermond Severn for the WBC heavyweight title, first fight. And the second fight, first round knockout. So I gotta see if they're gonna show up at the Barclays Center like the people showed up at the Barclays Center Memorial Day weekend for Gervonta Tank Davis. That was packed. We gotta see that for Deontay Wilder against Robert Helenius because it's gonna be a big fight. It's like the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club says, two big men bumping meat. Pause, bro. Pause. Okay. Like I said, the co-feature Caleb Plant versus Anthony the Dog Durrell. They're the super middleweight division. That's going to be a very, very good fight at the co-feature bout. Like I said, one fight that I've been waiting to see if it was going to happen this year. So that's two fights that, hey, I was like, yo, y'all going to have these fights? Yeah, they're going to have these fights. That's what's up. Now, with that being said, wanted to, move forward a little bit here with the midweek report as we get closer to the fights that are coming up on August 20th. Like I said at the beginning of this thing, I do have an extensive, keys to victory for the rematch between Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua. What I wanted to do is kind of like go into the Showtime Championship boxing telecast. Yep. That's the one that I wanted to get into. Yeah, Adrian Broner was, scheduled to be on it. He's not on it. Excited to think for, mental health, mental illness. Some people say that it ain't it. That he kind of was lollygagging around. That some people were saying like he kind of like was a little bit off kilter, off weight, and that he didn't want to go through with this fight because he didn't want to go through the thing with the weight. But for me, if it's a weight thing, that's a real big problem. Because think about it is you have a contracted weight, or regardless. This isn't something where it's a world title fight, or at least to my knowledge, it's not a world title fight. So do it have to be at 140 pounds? No, not necessarily. You can work something out. You can be like 1 pound over. See if you can do a pound over, maybe 2. If you got to do 2, you do catch weight 142. But for them to like completely scrap this mental health, I mean, hey, something. Like I was saying in other conversations. I mean, you have this thing. You're a week before the bout comes, and now you cite mental health issues. You know what was in front of you. You knew the situation. But if he couldn't make it due to mental health issues, that's I guess what he was trying to say in reference to that. But other than that, some people ain't quite going for it. So Omar Figueroa Jr. will be facing Sergey Lipinets, and looks like there was like a version of a super lightweight title on the line, because here listed on the rec, the WBC silver belt is on the line with Omar Figueroa Jr. and Sergey Lipinets. Sergey Lipinets has, of course, been there as a very, very good fighter in the super lightweight division, and he had won the IBF belt, but ended up losing it to Mikey Garcia. Okay. Then, had a little bit of a thing where he was up above 140 pounds, and he had one key win over Lamont Peterson. That was, over in the Washington, D.C. area. I was there live for that. And man, that was Lamont Peterson's last fight. And, man, that was just bad, man. That was, and that was 10 rounds, man. That was bad. But he, had a little bit, of his time there at the 147-pound division. There was a key fight that he had against Casio Clayton in 2020 that ended up in a majority draw, which was key because that was for the interim welterweight championship of the IBF, which could have been a gateway to being the mandatory challenger to the IBF champion in Errol Spence Jr. But ended up falling short there. Not falling short, but ended up being a majority draw. Then he had his fight against Boots Ennis, and we all know what Boots Ennis did to him. So now, he had been trying to, figure out a way to get back in the ring, get back into title contention, whether it's at 147 or 140. Now he has this opportunity here at 140 pounds going up against Omar Figueroa Jr. Omar Figueroa Jr. has had his string of losses, 2 consecutive losses. One of those losses was by way of stoppage to Abel Ramos in his last bout in, May of 2021. So we got something here where it's 2 fighters that are coming off losses or multiple losses or a single loss. And I think it's going to make for a very, very good fight between the two. I think, at least some people think that it could have ended up being a better matchup than if Adrian Broner was there against Omar Figueroa Jr. That's going to be something. If, some people felt like this here with Limpy Yates and Figueroa is going to be better than Broner Figueroa, then hey, we're going to see, But you know what, though? We're going to go into that a little bit more, but we need to revisit something, okay? We need to revisit what I was saying at the beginning of the midweek report, that it was official. The announcement was made that it is the return of the Bronze Bomber, okay? He will be at the Barclays Center October 15th against Robert Helenius, and I was saying that pretty much from the jump. But now we have, once again, the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club, Mr. MVO, Mr. Matt, in the building. What's going on?
How you doing today, JR?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Well, I'm up and down, Pisces. Sometimes I'm hot, sometimes I'm cold,
It's a great day, man. Finally, boxing got the shot in the arm that it needed. You had the AB news, which was a letdown. You had the jackasses in boxing reacting to AB. It wasn't surprising, but it was a letdown. We still haven't had Crawford versus Spence announced. Haney versus Kambosos too. Is that happening? We don't know what's going on. And when boxing is in ambiguity, it took one man to save it from the doldrums. It took one man to bring boxing out of its malaise. And that one man, as we know, is the greatest American heavyweight of all time. That one man, as we know, is the greatest knockout artist of all time. He is the one, the only Deontay Wilder.
Now, see, folks, I told y'all that he said that Deontay Wilder is the greatest American heavyweight of all time, and that includes Muhammad Ali, that includes Evander Holyfield, that includes Larry Holmes, and that includes one person that he is a very big fan of, and who I am a huge fan of, Riddick Big Daddy Bo. But he's saying that Deontay Wilder is the greatest American heavyweight of all time. And he is going to be back in the ring October 15th against Robert Helenius, former sparring partner. And like I said, or like MVO says, it's going to be two big, beefy men, that thing.
I
So,
just hope it's one-way traffic. I'm not looking to see Deontay get into no war. I just want to see him whoop some ass.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna necessarily be a war. If it's if that's the Deontay Wilder that we saw in the first few rounds against Tyson Fury in his last bout, I really don't see it being much of a war.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah, Robert Helenius did have himself a string of victories and he's fought, guys like Adam Kalinaki and stuff like that. But this is also somebody that had a back and forth bout with Gerald Washington and ended up getting knocked out. You know,
Now, did you touch on the co-feature?
yes, I did announce the co-feature and the ramifications of that. I said, "Hey, this is yet another fight that I've been waiting to see if it was going to be announced for months with
Yeah,
Caleb
I'm
Smith Plant
surprised that this didn't get its own main event on Showtime or Fox.
on Fox because Caleb Plant is usually the guy that they put on as a main event on Fox."
Yeah, well, I guess he commands more money now, so he got to jump into that pay-per-view pool.
Yeah, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what he's going to pull for this fight. Of course, people say that he pulled in a cool 10 against Canelo Alvarez. So now you got to be like, hey, you going from 10 to what? Like, what are you going down to? You got, you lost, you got knocked out or stopped. What do you go down to? What are you able to accept
Yeah,
for a fight?
he did give a good account of himself though against Canelo.
Yeah,
I think he did win some people over, so we'll see how the fans react to him. I do wonder if this is. Well, I don't wonder. It is. This is the last stand for Darrell.
yeah,
If Darrell doesn't win this, he's out. He's out of it, man.
right.
He's gatekeeper. You
Yeah,
know.
like there's so much on the line for him. I mean, from the previous year, we kind of like he had to fight against Kyron Davis, and after the fight against Kyron Davis, it was like it was a situational bout where it was a like a semifinal of sorts and for the WBC or whatever it was, and it ended up being a draw. Some people thought they lost that fight, or who knows. But he after that fight, he was like he wasn't interested in a rematch. He wasn't interested in really having that many type of bouts that really didn't get him to a world title. But it's kind of interesting because if people really think that he wanted to have another fight with David Benavidez,
Hell nah. I think that ship has sailed. But he did say he wanted a big name,
yeah,
and Caleb Plant is a big name. So let's see what he does with it. It's a very winnable fight, and it's a fight that even if he loses, I don't think he's gonna get beat up. Caleb Plant ain't exactly uh, a guy that's like a knockout artist.
right,
So he has a chance to really basically put himself at the top of the division in a quick manner. Let's see what he does with it.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I love the matchup. I love the matchup. Two guys that are very good, very good boxers. And like you said, I mean, players not heavy handed, so you might see something. Maybe you could see something surprising. Um, Darrell, knocked out his last opponent. With the counter uppercut. So hey, maybe we could get surprised in that bout.
Yeah, I can't wait though. That was that honestly. That was more shocking than the Wilder fight being announced. I had no idea that was going to be the co-feature. I was pleasantly surprised. It kind of
Yeah,
makes me wonder just how strong this undercard is going to be. You know?
yeah, and I talked about that earlier. Um, I was thinking that are they going to do the same thing or the same format that they've done in the previous pay per view telecast? Like the thing for Spence versus Ugas, and also what's upcoming on September 4th with the Ruiz Ortiz, where they have a headliner that's going to be on Fox Sports One and a headliner that's going to be on Fox. Maybe they could have the same thing here for this.
Yeah, that's pretty. That would be pretty cool, man. And remember, there's a lot of guys at PBC who still hasn't had a date announced yet. A lot of
Yeah,
big names that we know and love. So you gotta expect them to pop up on these cards somewhere. So,
yeah.
I'm wondering if they're just gonna end up doing what they used to do, where they just threw a whole bunch of big names on one card.
Yeah, they could. But I did say earlier, I was like, hey, maybe a couple of people could get a phone call, and there were two of the guys here in the area, Jaleel Major Hackett and Kobe Abreedi. So I'm like, hey, why not have them be part of the card? That could be on Fox Sports One
Oh, I
or
don't
on
I don't
Fox.
think Jaleel Hackett is gonna be on any Wilder card
Yeah,
just because of the whole Mayweather thing.
right.
I do wonder what is going on with that though. They made like a big to do about side of him, a blue chip prospect at 17, but I don't really see much movement with them on that front.
Mm. And it seems like, with it being more of like a Mayweather guy, that he'll be, Jaleel Major Hacker will be more tied into, Gervonta Tank Davis's events. And, we're
Yeah, but
looking
he
to
needs
see.
to fight more often.
Right, right,
Like he should be fighting. Well, he's like 18. He should be fighting like 4, 5, 6 times a year.
right, yeah. One of the previous fights that he had, not just the thing in Tank Davis card last December, but you had the thing where he was in the Washington for that Beltway Battles fight card. Like those are the fight, those are the things that he needs to be in more. So I don't know. Maybe I had to talk with his dad, like I said, Coach Bernard Hackett there. Want to add in the boxing academic to jump in and add in a question here from World Rank. Shout out to World Rank. Shout out to Mister Give Me My Credit. He says, where would y'all rate Helenius in terms of Wilder's opponents?
Tell Matt, don't be afraid to get on camera.
Yeah,
I'm leaving the gym. That's the only reason why I'm getting on camera, just to mess with Matt.
Will you
man.
say something smart about boxing?
Come again?
Can you please say something smart about boxing?
What you want me to say? Smart, Matt. Give me some
Oh, you're the
bounds, man.
boxing
Like you just
academic.
anything.
I figured you were like the genius back in the WWF. That you would say something smart.
You don't know about the
I don't know.
genius,
I don't know,
man.
man. Jump how high? How high you want me to jump, man?
You don't know who the genius is, Jr.
No, he doesn't. We've gone through this already.
Well, you're supposed to be the genius.
I can't really hear y'all for real.
You don't know who the
Okay.
genius is, Mike?
Who?
You don't know who the genius is?
Now I don't know who Mischievous is.
No, the genius.
The genius.
Hold on, let me cut my camera off so I can listen to the phone.
Man, yeah, man. Well,
Who?
at least he
What's
was
his
able to
name?
go on camera.
His name is the genius.
Mischievous.
The Genius.
The Genius. Now I don't know who the Genius is.
It's Macho Man Randy Savage's brother.
His career must not have went that far.
Well, not as far as Macho Man, but
I know Macho Man.
But you don't know his brother Lenny, the Genius. He used to wear the
okay,
hat.
yeah. He had a big forehead. He had a big forehead. Yes. Okay, I do remember now.
He used to hang out with Mr. Perfect.
Yeah. They actually do look alike now that you say that. I didn't know they were brothers, but yeah, they definitely look alike. Oh, you trying to say I got a big forehead? That's what you trying to say?
No, what I'm saying is that he used to always say something smart. So since you're a boxing academic, I expect you to say something smart about boxing every time I hear you.
Hey, Matt, I'm gonna tell you the same way that the feminists say you're putting unrealistic expectations on me as a man in this case.
Oh,
and I don't like it.
Yo,
Just saying, man.
Hey, yo, man, boxing academic talking about Deontay Wilder. They're going up against Robert Helenius in Barclays Center. Number one, are you going? I didn't get an answer.
He gonna say he couldn't hear you.
Yeah, probably that's probably the case.
He probably got bad reception.
Man, say it, man. I'm telling you.
Probably those thick ass glasses blocking the cell phone towers.
Oh no.
Now I had touched my phone.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, are you going to see Deontay Wilder take on Robert Helenius at the Barclays Center?
Man, if the ticket's cheap enough, I you know.
Well, what's cheap enough to you? You're not getting $50 tickets no more, man.
I never got $50 Deontay Wilder tickets, but
what's cheap enough?
Hey, man, I can't say that over online so people can count my pockets.
No, I want to know. Well, tell us privately. What's cheap enough? Because Deontay Wilder is a big name now, you know. So you gotta expect.
I mean, I'm willing to support him. I've always supported him. So yeah, I'm committed to supporting him. I just I ain't trying to spend $1,000 for a weekend. Just me personally.
Okay, so if I go on to the pre-sale tomorrow and I look at the tickets or the ticket prices, and then I'll be able to tell you what the ticket prices are. And if the nosebleed seats at the Barclays Center, the 200 or 300 level seats there at the Barclays Center are $100, are you going?
Man, I can't sit in no nosebleeds. I never sit in the nosebleeds in a boxing match.
You too classy for that?
Yeah, I'm too classy. I can't. JR ain't never seen me sit in no nosebleeds.
Yeah, I've never seen him sit in nosebleeds, buddy.
If I can't afford it, hey, if it costs too much, I'd rather watch it. I'd rather pay the $100 for the pay-per-view. But I tell you what, though, I was thinking about it, though, that I was definitely gonna holler at you if the tickets happen to be cheap enough, Matt.
It's gotta be a big event, man. I can't wait.
He said
you going, James?
Yeah, I'm going, man. I'm going.
As media.
I go regardless.
Okay. That's what's up. How long will the pre-sale tickets be like available for pre-sale? And what allows you to get pre-sale tickets?
Just a day. Like a day, 24 hours.
Because the
12 hours. 12 hours.
Yeah, the 19th is the
what allows you to get pre-sale?
If you were part
use the code word boxing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna see what the code word is then.
Yeah, boxing.
I just said boxing.
So the code word is that got it ain't no Anybody can get the code word?
Well,
Yeah.
now they can. We just said it.
Live on there.
Yep, live on air, buddy. I mean, but anybody that's part of the mailing list for Premier Boxing Champions can get, you know, the pre-sale code because they're sending out on their mailing list. You know,
I
so
think I'm on there mailing list. I gotta check my spam folder though. So
And as for world ranks question, I think Robert Helenius ranks right up there. I'd say a top 10 Wilder opponent. You know, I think he's obviously behind Fury. To me, he's behind Ortiz. He's behind Stavern. Listen, Stavern was a world champion at the end of the day, JR.
yeah,
He was a world champion at the end of the day. People forget that.
yeah.
I would say he's around the Dominic Brazil area. He might be a little better than Brazil,
Yeah, yeah,
but Brazil was so slow. That was his problem.
yeah. Some molasses flow. Yeah, yeah. I think he's there around he's around the Dominic Brazil level. Remember, like I said, he did get knocked out by Gerald Washington. So, so it's like which
is my phone echoing now?
no. Now it is.
No? Okay.
Did Helenius ever fight Duhapis?
What about now? Is it echoing now?
Still,
Like, sound good, man. Oh, yeah,
So it's
you are
echoing
echoing.
or okay.
It echoes when other people talk, not when you talk.
What about now?
So when you're not talking, just mute it.
What about now? Should be good now.
Yeah, it's good now.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, his opponents were like Dylan White, Eric Tepper, Gerald Washington, Adam Kaunaki twice. So, well, you know, it is what that is on that aspect for Robert Helenius. But you know, I mean, it's more about a matchup. You know, are we gonna see someone getting knocked out? That's what people, come to see when it comes to Deontay Wilder. Is somebody gonna get knocked out? And in all but one of his fights, somebody got knocked out or stopped.
This is true. And in all of his fights, somebody got knocked down.
Right.
So,
including him. So
well,
yeah.
When I ain't gonna get into it. Whatever. So this is a celebration. I'm not gonna let you sully the moment with your hating.
You know what? I did say that I'm going to this fight, but I might have. You know what? I might do something for this fight. If
you might not be welcomed.
Huh?
You might not be welcomed.
Oh boy, here we go.
You might not be welcomed. What are you gonna show up with like the Finland flag, wherever the hell Helenius is from?
Nope, not the nope. Nope. It's something else. You should have an idea of what I'm thinking about.
Listen, just show some respect to the god, all right? That's all that matters.
Oh man. So that's gonna be a very good event there, man. Looking forward to that, October 15th, man. So we got that. Hold on a second.
Is it October 15th supposed to be when Haney Cambosa takes place?
That's what I was thinking.
Could have sworn that was the date that they put out there.
Let me see if that was on World Boxing News. I think they said October 15th. Being planned. Well, some said being planned for mid-October, but I thought I saw like one of those things. It would be October 15th. But I didn't see anything that kind of like really confirmed that or whatnot. So I thought for certain that I saw it on like something like a World Boxing News or whatever it was. So, that's what I'm kind of going into here is to see if that's the case. Because I know I saw it somewhere, you know. Um, now they did say the thing for Wilder Helenius that it is a WBC title eliminator. So, I mean, hey, like I said, it could potentially be, depending on what happens with Tyson Fury, it could be for the vacant WBC title. But if not, and he's still retired, then this be a title eliminator. Ruiz Ortiz could be a title eliminator, and the winner of those two fights could face each other for the vacant WBC title. So
I hope not. I hope the other eliminator is Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker. I want that matchup instead. Nice first matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, Devin, what was it? Devin Haney said that he didn't necessarily say that there was like a thing there for a rematch between him and Kambosos, but I mean he's still under contract, with Top Rank, so I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't end up being in a whole entire mess that could have Haney held up in a certain extent, because now people over the past few hours have been going berserk that it's the return of Vasyl Lomachenko. Or I'm like, okay, Vasyl Lomachenko. World Rank says, hey, Ruiz versus Wilder coming right up.
Ruiz is not going to beat Luis Ortiz.
Man, you know what? I'm stuck on that fight. I'm stuck. You would think that Ruiz would be able to beat Luis Ortiz, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Ruiz doesn't have fast feet. I only see people with fast feet give Ortiz problems because you can step around them.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Wilder, especially in the second fight, knocked him out, you saw the way Wilder pivoted real quick, and before Luis Ortiz could even fully turn, boom, that right hand came and straightened out his jerry curl. So I've never seen Andy Ruiz with fast feet. So I think they're just gonna bang it out, and my money is on King Kong because he's one of the hardest hitters in the division too. And we saw he put Charles Martin in airplane mode. Charles Martin got hit so hard he started talking to the crowd.
Yeah.
So sleep on him if you want. We've seen Ruiz get shook up before a few times. He got shook up by Areola. So what's gonna happen when Ortiz is on him? And Ortiz is a much better finisher than Chris Areola.
Yeah. And the thing with Andy Ruiz is like it's not like he is fully extended out when he throws a lot of his punches. It's more of like short and more of a combination style. With Ortiz, with this right jab, like you can see he extends it out, and he'll move around and he'll extend it out and pop it out. So it can lead to a lot more there for Luis Ortiz, because Andy Ruiz, he can't move, and he's not still there with Eddie Reynoso, is he?
Nah, he has a whole new trainer that I never heard of.
New trainer. So damn, that's gonna be 3 trainers, man. It's gonna be something for Andy Ruiz, bro. So I mean, it's gonna, kind of like be a tough out, very tough out for him. Man, you had, like I said, man, the Figueroa Lipinets fight. It's gonna be for a WBC minor belt. Puello versus Akhmadov. You got Gutierrez versus Garcia. Man, they got a bunch of fights on this joint, man, like a bunch. And I'm gonna be out there, covering this joint. So,
That's in Florida, right?
yeah, it's out there in Hollywood, Florida. Y'all
How's
have
the
that.
ticket sales going?
Remember the .com report, man. I tried to get you on that .com report on Sunday.
It wasn't looking too good last time I checked it.
Right.
And that's a good card.
Yeah, it's a good. It's a very solid card. I mean, the 4 fights they got on Showtime: Brandon Lee, Will Madera, Gutierrez versus Garcia. Garcia is going to be a very, very good fight. Puello versus Akhmadov and Figueroa Jr. versus Lipinets. That's going to be that's going to be a good little scrap. So I'm like, man, but also, man, I think Jake Donovan kind of like mentioned it earlier this week. But the next day, they're supposed to have the purse bid for Dimitri Bivol and Zurdo Ramirez.
Can't wait.
Orlando. I was thinking about making that drive, but I'm like, first off, it's like you pay tolls and it's over. It's about 3 hours or so driving there and driving back. I don't know about all that. But yeah, you do have that for the WBA light heavyweight. But also, I'm looking to see if there will be a purse bid for Demetrius Andrade and Anim Hanuli. And I couldn't get anything out of Demetrius Salita a couple of days ago in reference to that bout being made or the fight being made or an agreement being reached. So it's coming towards that deadline. It's supposed to be Saturday. So, hey, if that goes to purse bid, that's going to be something because the minimum bid was like, what, $200K?
Yeah. I wonder who's going to actually bid on it. Why don't, see, this is what I don't understand. So why don't even promoters that have nothing to do with the fight, why not bid on it and throw it on one of your undercards or something if it's reasonably priced?
If it's reasonably priced, if you're able to win the bid, right?
Yeah, I never understood that.
But here's my thing with this: if Top Rank is really trying to push Anim Hanuli, what are y'all willing to do in order to get this bout and to have it like this could potentially have it on ESPN? Or are y'all trying to get this, for the bargain, for the cheap,
I just think they're trying to get Andre to drop the belt.
I think so. Because I think, they're going to try to go for a purse bid. And the minimum bid is like around $200K. And they're not planning on trying to bid for much higher than that, or anything that could, make it above 600K.
Would you be shocked, like I would, if this fight fetched more than $1 million?
Yeah. I'm just being straight up. I don't see it. Like I said, Demetrius Salita is, kind of like, trying to see if he could get that fight over the hump. But, not necessarily seeing much action from that, or at least I haven't seen it in the news wire yet. So
I would love PBC to bid like $1 million on it and just throw the fight on a Charlo undercard.
That would be funny.
Yeah, they tried to get Andre. He signed with Salita instead. So why not get him for cheaper than what you was gonna pay him and just throw him on an undercard?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Yeah, and here's that. Yeah, because I mean, y'all were bidding on him before. At least Steven Espinosa was bidding on him. Before trying to see if he could make that unification fight with Jamal Charlo. Didn't quite happen. So let's see about trying to see if you can get him on the cheap. Win the bid. For a little bit cheaper. See if you can put him on the card. Get him some exposure on Showtime and anything like that. And we'll see how that goes. Big up to those that are contributing to the Boxing Source. We appreciate y'all contributing to the Boxing Source there, man. Shout out to you for that contribution. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, because Demetrius Andrade looks like he gonna be stuck if he don't go through this particular fight, man. Like, where else he gonna go? I mean, if it wasn't like close to 9 p.m. Eastern time, although I probably could still give Paul Andrade a call, but like I said, Paul Andrade really don't talk about business dealings when it comes to his son. He just just says, okay, what's the fight? Who he's gonna fight? Let's prepare for that fight. But as far as like business stuff is concerned, he really don't talk about that. So yeah, man, that's pretty much what they got. I mean, I know that there's another card that is in San Diego with Emmanuel Navarrete, Giovanni Santillan, Xavier Martinez, part of that card. Of course, Nico Ali Walsh is part of that card. Not really that much buzz on that, especially with the thing with Navarrete, because like, when is Navarrete gonna be in a position to try to unify? You haven't seen it, we probably have more of a shot of a unification happening at featherweight, but it would be WBC versus WBA, but that remains to be seen. But yeah, outside of that, we pretty much like covered everything here with the midweek report. Thankful for everybody that came in for this. Anything more from you, MVO, on like I said, the announcement and other things?
Nah, I'm just waiting for this big boxing weekend, man. It's like a full day of boxing. You can skip most of the matchroom card, but once they get to Hergovich versus the Chinaman, you can watch that. Then you got Usyk versus Joshua, and then you go right into the Showtime card.
Yeah.
And then at midnight you got Power. It's gonna be a full night for me, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man. I gotta fly early Saturday morning, for this joint, and then get in, do the work, and then I'm probably either gonna leave this Sunday evening or early Monday morning. And
tell World Rank stop hating on Luis Ortiz. I just saw his fucking comment.
We'll see, man. Well, you know about World Rank, man. He, kind of like does a couple things when it comes to boxing and odds and things like that. So maybe he is kind of like saying, hey, he's putting down on Andrew Ruiz Jr. Winning that particular matchup against Luis Ortiz coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see on that. But on that note, folks, man, that's it for the midweek report. We'll get back at it for the Boxing and Source radio show on Sunday night. Until then, I'll catch y'all later.